I'm happy to welcome Boris to our podcast show. Boris, how are you?
I'm very good and very happy to see you, Alexander.
Where are you now?
I'm currently in Portugal, close to Lisbon, in a place called Oeiras, in the house that I still inhabit, and soon probably will move, but that's a different story. But I'm happily near Lisbon at the moment in the beautiful summertime.
Yeah, thank you. What so we want to make a series of podcasts that will touch a deeper sense of life and how philosophical concepts and search for meaning and how technology also relates to this, right? So we talk about important things in life, but also about the technology.
Yep, that's true.
What do you want to talk about today, Boris?
So I feel that a nice idea to discuss early on is the idea of exploration and exploitation. I will find other words that substitute those words, but in general it means, for example, a different way to phrase it that's in design thinking is divergent thinking and convergent thinking. And roughly is the same as exploration and exploitation, which means you explore possibilities by acting them out, thinking them through. Acting them out is the more important piece because it provides experiential knowledge, not just intellectual knowledge. And then you have the exploitation, which is the re-implementing a pattern of action in your life. And because most of us start in the exploitation phase, meaning that we are taught, most of us start, meaning I just mean as adults, we already are exploiting a lot of patterns and using models in our life that often we are unsatisfied with. Probably it would be nice to start with exploitation before we come to exploration.
Yeah, thank you. Could you give practical life examples of how do we use the exploration mode and then how do we move forward from this?
You would like to start with exploration? Okay.
Yeah, so actually I'm not sure that I understand exactly what it means in terms of how could I use it in my life. Exploration and then exploitation. I understand that exploration is that you are trying to move as wide as possible, to look at things, to understand how this world is constructed. And then when you're very inquisitive about things, you try to take one part and exploit it and use it to your benefit or to your pleasure or just to understand how it works in the world.
So I will start with exploitation for a specific reason because I will even start with a story. There was a writer, David Foster Wallace, who wrote about, in one of the books, he wrote a story of three fish. And there's kind of a situation when one old fish goes one direction and two young fish go the other direction. At some point, the old fish asks the young fish, how's the water today? And then they go their separate ways. And then one young fish to the other, can I curse here or I shouldn't? What is water? Okay, no cursing at the moment. What is water? And this is what I mean in the terms of exploitation to some extent, meaning we live in a context, and the context is the society, the patterns we've learned, and how do we relate to our insight. And we are exploiting a certain model of thinking about it. By exploiting, just you can use the word using, meaning exploiting sounds like we are using in a negative sense, but exploiting means there is a pattern of action, pattern of doing things, pattern of looking at things, and by exploiting you can just say using that pattern is a pattern I've learned, it became part of me, that's why sometimes I don't even notice it. When you, for example, travel, and I don't mean travel for 1 week to do all-inclusive, but I mean live in a different country for some months, you get to notice the water, meaning because your initial place was different than the place you are in. And it's easier to notice the patterns and models you used / exploited. Does it help you with understanding what I mean? Would you like me to provide more details here?
Yeah, more details, please.
Okay, so Would you like to provide a pattern from your life, or do I make up one on the spot?
Make one on the spot apart from fish.
Okay, so for example, this is gonna be a fun example. A lot of us, especially when we try to achieve / overachieve, have this repeated situation of not doing something until the deadline comes. Then when the deadline is close, we start being like tense, we are stressed, and then we are doing extremely impossible things of working how many ever hours, or sitting down the computer that we couldn't sit for 10 minutes for like 12 hours, for example. And this is a pattern, like you repeat that in your life. You, I mean any person, I don't mean you personally. I surely did it a lot, and I'm sure that I'm gonna repeat that stupidity in my life again and again. It's hard to quit something that works, even if it's like not beneficial in a larger sense. But when you notice such a pattern, because noticing is the initial state of any change, you can ask yourself, how much is it worth to you to use a fuel of anxiety to fuel your success versus finding a way of still creating success, but from a different place using different tools? Because like you can subscribe to the idea that the only pattern of action, the only model of doing, the only way to approach things is to stress yourself into action. And this is using so-called push motivation. You're pushing yourself into doing something, or you are pushed by your kind of internal state of anxiety, for example, and stress into doing something. Or you can use the pull motivation, meaning I want to do this. This is what is meaningful to me. And it's not about eliminating completely one and switching to the other, because you cannot really turn off your survival instincts. It's more about balancing into a healthy balance in which you are not over exploiting yourself by exploiting, like accidentally, kind of pun not intended, a certain pattern of action. So this is the exploitation in a rather specific sense of like using anxiety to push yourself forward into acting, for example, at work, solving a problem, running a project, whatever. Is it clear at the moment before I go to exploration?
Yeah, so it's more about pushing an anxiety and like going hard for it, right?
It's just an example, meaning I can find other examples of like models of action. It's gonna be, for example, in relationships, you're looking for a certain kind of love because this was the love that you were taught in your home. In how you eat, you were shown what to eat as a child. Maybe you have changed as an adult, but like you kind of have a certain pattern of action that you are repeating. Meaning you can find many different dimensions of life. When you are exploiting a certain strategy, you are like enacting a certain way of doing things, and you might not even notice you are doing this because it was taught to you and you breathe it in as air and breathe it out as action.
What is the difference between exploitation and exploration then?
And exploration is like very often triggered by a certain kind of signal, which while we usually look at it very negatively, I would invite people to look at it more objectively. A signal called pain, or even to be probably more precise, suffering. Because in Buddhism, there is two kind of signals, that the two kind of ideas that are spoken a lot about. There is like pain and suffering. Pain is objective information from the world, meaning like it's happened, it is happening, meaning you have a sensation that's kind of not debatable, and trying to think if it's true, but like let's assume that's the definition I'm gonna use. And the other is suffering. So it's the story that you add on, it's the perspective that you bring into the situation. So when you have this pain or suffering, like for example, simple case of pain, I'm walking on a rocky beach and I am hurt by a stone. So I learn to change the pattern of my action to wearing flip-flops. This doesn't really demand a big story. It doesn't produce additional suffering, meaning like I get wiser quite fast by getting provided pain by reality, and the switch is rather simple. But very often we have like situations when we have some pain, like for example, what's a simple case of pain? For example, we haven't slept for a few days because we are like nearing to end of a project, and we feel that we have to commit all of our energy to this, forgetting about our friends, family, trading, good eating, and so on, and also telling ourselves that everything is more like this specific thing is more important than everything else, and we are also scaring ourselves into this thing failing, so we are more highly motivated. And on the other side of either success or failure, this is not the most important thing, to be honest, but very often success, you can look at it and say, what was the suffering worth it? And very often we say it was. How do we say it was worth it? Meaning we repeat it. But the question is, do you want to pay that cost? And does it have to be paid? So it initiates the exploration for different ways of doing things. And the inspiration for the different way, for going into the adventure of exploration, it can be a book, it can be a conversation, it can be a song, it can be whatever brings you the idea, preferably a positive idea. Meaning, because you can have negative and positive ideas. You can have negative idea like, I don't want that. That's a negative idea in the sense that it's guided by what you don't want. And you can have a positive idea, meaning what do you want? And this is just a representation of one giving you direction, and the other again gives you this push energy, meaning I don't want to have that. But like bringing to bear statements of I want that, even if you are wrong, helps to move forward, because you can give momentum to the movement, whether metaphorical or literal movement, when you pose a positive statement.
But if you want to explain, like in 10 words, the difference between exploration and exploitation, how do you put it? What is?
In order to speak very shortly, I need to have a moment to think about it.
Yeah. Like to make it more clear, like it's short sentence. What is the main difference between these two?
Okay, I will try to say it like that. One has exploration, can be like is much more aligned with play. When
exploration is related to what?
More aligned with play, meaning that you explore reality without a lot of constraints, because you are like having adventures and like allowing yourself to be many different things in different people without necessarily the burden of being right, because the experience is the valuable thing. And exploitation is that I have a goal. So given my experience, I'm trying to reach that goal as efficiently as I can.
Yeah, okay. I think that you put it right. So I just double checked on how I checked with Google, and it shows me AI overview. And it looks like this. The core difference between exploration and exploitation lies in how we gather and use information. Exploration involves searching for new information or opportunities, often by trying new things or taking risks, while exploitation involves using existing knowledge to make the best possible decisions in the current situation. Essentially, exploration is about learning, and exploitation is about using what is already learned.
I mentioned David Foster Wallace. I don't remember. I don't remember honestly from which book this is, because this kind of lives in my memory as like a parable that I use a lot, but he wrote very thick books, and it's hard for me to like commit that much time to this. Not proud of this, but like it is what it is.
So, but what is your learning? What is your best learning routine? How do you gather information? How do you learn, Boris?
It's an evolving subject. How would I say I do it now? I would say that I subscribe to the idea that learning should be as much practice biased as possible, meaning that the time from like getting an idea to trying to use it and refine it into a practical tool in reality should be as short as possible, and trying to find short feedback loops, meaning like when you try something and try to observe what's happened in me and outside, is the modus operandi for like trying to understand how does this tool work for me. because as like when you see the body of knowledge from scientific knowledge, it's statistical knowledge. 60% of the time something, 80% of the time something, 10% of the time something. You are not 10% or 90%. You are somewhere there, meaning like in each of those you land into a bucket. So being inquisitive about who you are and how you interact with things is the basis of self-knowledge and ability to kind of efficiently go through reality. And I'm in no way saying that I'm great at it, but I'm willingly progressing through the path, understanding that this is the path that I'm on. And as long as I keep myself on the path, I give myself opportunity to progress.
I see. So, and what about your exploitation? Can you give an example of how you you make the best use of current knowledge and resources? So what is your, maybe can you use some example from the current work in AI space or automation? So how do you project this into your daily work?
Okay, in work, I would say that it's a process. For example, I lately work more around the voice agent space, for example. And like in the beginning, like obviously it wasn't a thing that I knew. Like everybody starts somewhere, so I can have a general orientation of a thing, and then I'm starting experimenting. So I'm exploring. Then I understand, okay, this roughly works like this and this like this. So now let's remind myself what is the goal, for example. I have to deliver a solution that does this, 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 and this. So now I'm exploiting the knowledge that I have gathered through exploration, and I'm able to deliver 1 solution, 2 solution, 3 solution. But then I feel, okay, like this doesn't feel efficient, meaning I'm sure that it can be done more efficiently. So I'm exploring again. So what are the tools that would help me do it? And not all exploration is my personal exploration. Okay, some is my research, some is talking to other people, some is talking to potential clients, and this helps me iterate over what's needed and what would be possible to bridge the gap between where I am, what's needed, and build. So, for example, I used to click through those things in the software, meaning like to build the whole voice agent, build the database underneath it, build the relationship with calendars, stuff like that. But now what I'm working, for example, on is like having, for example, Claude connected to MCP servers of those tools, preparing myself relevant prompts, having a scraper that brings information about the business from the website, using that information in a knowledge base, and like plugging all of it together with reasonable amount of structured text. Because why not? Meaning like if it's possible, and for the good enough, which is a very important category in life. Perfect is a stupid category. Good enough is a good category. For good enough delivery of, for example, a demo solution, it looks great. So, like again, started from exploration, narrowed in with exploitation, then thought, okay, this is not efficient. I have to explore a better way. But I had to go through the steps, meaning I couldn't start there without having knowledge and practice. So this place is opened to me because I went the path of exploration and exploitation, and now I can improve. And like very often in life, it is very important to like allow ourselves to go through the experience in order to be able to have the new thing, the better thing. Like people want to be perfect from the start, but the person who's able to create the solution is not the same person who started the thing. I'm not the same person who started doing voice agents like 5 months ago. I'm a person who built up knowledge and experience and relationships with reality. And now I can say, okay, this seems to be useful and I can do it better.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Boris. And maybe I want to share my approach to learning new things. And I think that for me, I want to share the whole system that I created after studying books of Stephen Covey, then later listening to and reading by Tim Ferriss for me, and Viktor Frankl and Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, and a whole range of books also by James Clear, which is Atomic Habits, and Stephen Pressfield, which is the War of Art that we discussed with you before. Boris. And for myself, I wanted to create a system that helps me to be on a continuous growth, so that I will have some design for my day that will foster my ability to learn new things and new habits that will help me to live better life. So my goal for the whole thing is to make life as much conscious, as much in the reality as possible, and all the knowledge that I gather, I try to be as practical as possible, and not just think about things, think about philosophy. I want to put everything that I know into designing my lifestyle and to making my days look like they are full. So I like this. Statement by Seneca that you have to live your one day as a full life. So whenever the day ends, you even if now I die this day, I will feel full. I will feel that I lived up to the last second of this day. So I will explain how my day looks like and how it is connected to the learning phase, and how I approach this. So I start my day usually roughly at 5 a.m. till 5:30 a.m. And first time I try to go to the sun and look how the sun rises. So I look at the lights. I live on the fifth floor. I have my large balcony, and from this side, from Kiev, I live near Kiev, and from Kiev side the sun rises. Then I have a book. Usually it's some philosophy books like this one from Seneca or some other, and I do it. I make some notes about it. Like in every page, I make many notes. Take any page, and I have notes like in almost every page.
I like doing this thing.
Then I try to make notes in my. I like larger journals. So I make daily gratitudes. So I put some gratitude writing, so that why I'm grateful to this life, that I live this day, that I have family, I have work, I have things, I earn money, I like things to live on, and that's important thing. And then I try to exercise a bit, and then usually I read so for a while. Or lately also I study. So lately I studied a lot from accelerator program, from the workshops and different master classes. I try to do it on 2x, like learning on the speed of 2 times, like 1.5 to 2, to try to understand more, to get more information. I also try to read fast, as I'm learning from fast reading, but I'm not quite successful with this, but I try to read as much as possible. And then usually I bring my children to the school, which is 12 kilometers from here. So it takes like 40 minutes back and forth my car, and I'm using Audible to listen to Amazon books, or I listen some videos from YouTube, Liam Otley, or some workshop, or some book from Audible. I like to listen to Stephen Pressfield books, or listen to Jim Quick or Tim Ferriss, or some other author from YouTube or from Audible. And then I take 1 hour of training, like 1 hour between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. either in the gym or I'm at the stadium. And I like both, because in the gym I'm doing weights, and on the stadium I am under the sun. So this morning sun is fantastic trees, like nature. So I spend before 10 o'clock. Then I come after 10 o'clock. I come home, and then I take cold shower, and then I have breakfast. So it's related also to kind of interval fasting, because I try not to eat between like 8 o'clock in the evening and 11 o'clock, even about 10:30 in the morning. So it also helps. And then during the day, I try to structure all of my daily journey, because every day is a journey, and every day is a like small life for me. I try to meet fantastic people, to meet the best people of the world, like you, Boris. So I learn from you. Like whatever you tell me, exploration, exploitation, your experience in development. So I think this kind of, and for today, this is my second meeting. And so I'm trying to put both learning, communicating, working, and making content on the same plate. So we are making content, we are learning, we are communicating, and networking, we are building relationships. And I think this kind of meetings, they make the how to say, the cherry on the pie, on the cooking. One day, my day is a pie. So I have several raisins, some things to put on top, cherries, and all these meetings embellish. They make my day more beautiful, and they make my day full. So at the same time, I meet a lot of people. I try to ask questions. They ask questions for me. We make interviews. We make content. So this kind of, and then my children, in the day I have 5, 6, 7 meetings per day. So then I talk to my team. I have my agency. I have my team. We are in development. We have client meetings every day. So then in the evening when my children come from school, like we have 4 children, and so I try to walk with them, to go to do some exercise, to run, to play football, and then before the night time, we are reading fairy tales. So we read fairy tales, we lie, and they are with us, and we have some comics books, some fairy tales, some Mumitrol, of some Astrid Lindgren, or there is some Jeff Kinney, this fantastic 15 books with comics that will have some nice humor. So that's the way I look like. It's a continuous learning, networking, and making every day better, and finding small things in the day to improve my life. So that's all, Boris. Thank you for listening. So you're very, very kind of listening to me.
Thank you for sharing. A lot of the structure of the day, I feel that I understand, meaning that this piece about like getting up before everybody like wants your time so that you have a little bit of space for yourself. Then you have this like learning stage that you commit, for example, around an hour to like learning. Somewhere there, depending on the hour, you have the lights because like sun gets up at a different hour, different parts of the year, like taking your children to school, so you have a little bit of interaction with them, like keeping up the relationship. That's nice. And on the way back, for example, listening to the things that are of interest to you, keeping your body healthy, and then like kind of time for yourself to some degree, meaning like your personal growth through growth of the business, because you kind of express yourself at least partly through the business ventures that you do, and then like reconnecting to your family in the evening. So like it's a nice flow over the day, I would say. And you kind of strongly emphasize this learning piece like in the beginning of what you said. And I would like to ask if you have kind of a conscious goal that you want to apply the learning to, and is it a goal that's like overarching, meaning the goal and it's like something that kind of leads your life, or this is like goals come and go and it's completely fair, meaning like new challenges and stuff like that, or you just like invest and you kind of reap the rewards of it as new challenges come? All are fair strategies, just trying to kind of see how do you work in relationship of investing in your growth versus any kind of goal that they might serve.
I think that my goal is to put my like thermostat, like Ed Milet has his book The Power of Wine More, and he uses analogy of a thermostat. So I feel like all of us have some level that we want to bring our lifestyle and level of different parts of life to some level. And so I want to push my level like from James Clear every day 1% more on each level. And I split my parts of my B into six buckets, and I want to make each bucket slightly better each day to 1%. So my first bucket is creativity. Like I want to explain what Kairos means, because I think I want to make each day as much Kairos as possible.
So if I may for a moment, because like I believe that like I'm not sure if you spoke in the past on your podcast about Kairos. So could you kind of like lead us into explanation, maybe some story, because Kairos is also like a thing that's related to Greek school of thought, philosophy, and then transition us into your kind of, I don't know, spin on it, and probably then we can go into details so that you kind of let us into the subject gently, before you bring details?
Yeah, so I think how we live, the quality of our time is one of the most. The quality of our time is my goal, my KPI, my key productivity indicator for the day. The quality of my life. So I want to make each day as much resourceful, as much creative, as much full as possible. And there are two kinds of time measurements in the Greek philosophy. One is Chronos, which looks like a quite evil, quite angry god who is punishing people, because finally they will kill you. At the end of life, Chronos, which is time, it kills you. So it kills you day by day. And Seneca tells that you are dying every day. So there is another one, which is Kairos. Kairos is a good god. He has some wings on his feet. So, and he flies, and it's very difficult to find him. It's very difficult because he tries to elude you. Because Cronus is punishing you. Kairos, he wants to elude you. He's like an angel, and you want to take this angel as much possible to grasp the moment. Carpe diem. It's called carpe diem. You grasp the moment. You like to live as much as possible, to the full attention to all around you, to understand not just your work or just that goal plan, but understand how the leaves look like, how the sun shines, how your child smiles, how your child laughs. So you cherish every moment and try to make as much space for this moment as possible, and to make as much full attention to this as possible. So Kairos for me, like I concocted a kind of abbreviation for this, and I put the first letter not K but C, because it's easier for me to come up with K, not because I didn't find a lot of words starting with K. That's why I made it C, which is creativity. So Kairos is CAIROC, and I concocted this abbreviation: creativity and affluence, then intelligence, then relationships, then organism, and then spirituality. So actually this organism is also a bit, I would put it like physical dimension, but I put organism because it's all in Kairos. But anyway, these six letters, they split in three letter parts. And first one is Kairos, CA, which is what you give to the world in your creativity, what you make for this world, and then what you take from this world is the affluence and the richness, the money. So it is a kind of balance between giving and taking from the world, which is K. Creativity is like Stephen Pressfield, or like I have several authors for Kairos. I can quote a few. Stephen Pressfield, Stephen King, which also he wrote a fantastic book about writing. Austin Kleon, Csikszentmihalyi, which is the Flow, the book Flow, The Flow. Then James Clear, Atomic Habits, the Daphne Gray Grant, Elizabeth Gilbert, The Magic of Art, and several other authors. So I have like 10 authors that I am reaching to for this each book, each part. The first one is creativity. The second one is affluence, the ability for you to balance your resources, to organize and to manage companies. And you are a company. So Boris, you're a company. Even though you can have a company like many people, and you can be a CEO of your own self. And so one of the top people who I'd like to cater to is Schwartz, Think Big, which is old book, classic, and Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and Warren Buffett, and Charlie Munger, and Rabia Bubala, which is young entrepreneur, like Leah Motley, which is similar to Leah Motley from Canada, Alex Hormozy, and also another guy from New Zealand, like Leah Motley, Sam Owens, which is the king of consulting. Sam Owens, then Tony Robbins, Dave Crenshaw, Simon Sinek, and Alex Hormozy, which is one of the most well-known one in the terms of business advice and coaching. And so these two is Kairos. Then certain forces, intellectual and relationships. It means your IQ and your EQ, your mind and your emotions. So for intellectual, I mean the books and knowledge of Jim Quick, Book Limitless, and Barbara Oakley, Learning How to Learn. Then Andrew Huberman, Protocols, and Andrew Huberman has one of the most known podcasts on YouTube. Then Cal Newport, Deep Work, which is a very important book for me. And Carol Dweck, Mindset. And Angela Duckworth, the book Grit, that is for me. So the first one is relationships, which is Daniel Goleman, which is about emotional intelligence, and Mark Manson and Covey Jr., The Speed of Trust, Adam Grant, Give and Take, Mel Robbins, Dale Carnegie, and Arianna Huffington also has nice books about relationships. And Jay Shetty also talks about relationships, which is Jay Shetty is a popular blogger. And the fifth one is Organism, with Peter Attia, Michael Greger, Jessica and Chosper. Jay Shetty podcast is also about organism, and Michael Pollan. And about spiritual is Robin Sharma, Confucius, Bible, Vedic and Prabhupada, I told Rumi and Ed Milan, Stephen Covey, Maria Popova. There are several, the fifth and sixth, which is organism and spiritual, is your body and your mind. Again, is a system of six facets of life, which is K is creativity and influence, what you give to the world, you take from the world. I and R, which is your intelligence, is your emotions, and then the last one is body and soul. There are three kinds of pairs of dimensions that I want to make my life as perfect for each day as possible. So the overarching philosophy is Stoicism, which is the ability to enjoy life and to make it as full as possible, and to use every moment to the fullest, with meditation, with enjoying the obstacles, enjoying the pain. Like you talked about pains and suffering, and there is large distance between whether your pain will bring you suffering or it will you bring. Stoic people not maybe so jubilant every day, like they don't make parties every day. They're more calm, but they're more happy. They don't suffer as much because they understand the nature of the suffering. And so the whole principle of learning for me is to make each of my day as vibrant, as full, and as full of emotion, full of learning, full of good connections, like today with you, Boris, and to make my thermostat go greater each day. And I think that the world rewards me for this and gives me more opportunities, more connections, and more joy each day due to this. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for sharing. I would kind of comment that it kind of brings in my mind an analogy of like being a character in a game, and you are investing in like bringing up your stats to higher levels. But I would still kind of differentiate between two kind of goals. You can be your own goal. Improving yourself can be your main goal. And you can use the tool of external goals to help bring more experience to your character. Some people do the opposite, meaning they focus on external goals and like try to climb the ladder of the external goals. Like both are kind of fair. I prefer what you're doing in the sense that I'm thinking, okay, what kind of person do I want to be? What kind of goals should I set myself so that I become that person? And then like the challenge is becoming a person and growing as a person and using the goals as steps of a ladder to becoming that person. So I like that piece. That's how I relate to what you're saying, at least in my life. Do you have this kind of goals? What's your relationship to goals that are external to you? Because like the goals that are kind of internal to you seem to be the main thing. But what's your relationship with goals that are external to you?
Yeah, I think that you mentioned right that I'm focusing on making myself a better person, but I'm not distancing. I'm not putting a gas. I don't split between goals of spirituality and personal growth and external goals, which where I see that I have problems with something, with relationships or with intelligence or with creativity or with income. So if I see that my income is below what I need to be, then I work more on that, of course. So I'm building my agency, I'm reaching to more people, I'm working from the proactive type. I'm a proactive type of person. So I always activate people around me. Like, let's do this. Why don't we work again? Like I go to all clients or people who know, let's do this project. Let's do this and let's invest into this. So it also, you see, for me, it's kind of sometimes I go into too much projects and too many. That's like natural for me, but I see that I don't depend on any separate person or in the different. If something doesn't continue, if something goes wrong, then I can find like in a week I can find another client, I can find another project, and so I'm working. And here I'm working maybe most of my day to giving more value to the world and to learning knowledge that is practical and that can help other people solve their problems. And the most here, which I just wanted to mention, because we get to know each other due to the community that we are both in, which is AAA Accelerator program. So I think that all this technology helps knowledge and investing into learning about technology and speaking to many people. It helped me to combine, to find solutions for different people, for different businesses. And it comes not only to giving me more knowledge, more understanding of things, but it helps me to grow on the level of creativity, both creativity and especially on influence. So I'm working on my everyday daily revenue, which goes higher. So actually for last 3 months, I put it up maybe 60% on my maybe due to the AI. I talked to more people, concentrated more on relationships with business clients. I found several people, and like today, I'm making new offer to large companies. They are like they already want to talk to me because I was recommended to them by some other my client. So they have 1 million subscribers on TikTok. So,
nice.
so they sell physical products. So they sell physical products in Ukraine, and they have 945,000 subscribers on TikTok and 200,000 on Instagram. So and they want to talk to work with me. So I think, oh, that's interesting because my investment into different relationships helped me to bring this type of clients to me.
Great, I'm very happy for you that you see the fruits of your sowing and you sow in yourself and in the people around you using your philosophy of Kairos that you helped us understand.
Can you just share about your way of the personal development that you are using?
What are my goals? I would to some extent say that my goal is to live an explored life. I'm not sure exactly from which Greek philosopher it is, but life unexplored is not worth living. It might be Socrates, it might be Aristotle. I think Socrates, but I won't give my hand nor finger for that one. I think it's okay, never mind. And that means both kind of exploration, internal and external exploration.
Socrates.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which one of those, but I thought Socrates, yeah. In order to explore my life, I had to break through some of the frames, and that was quite a painful process for myself. It feels like I have much more space, and the adventure has meaningfully changed its taste. So now I feel like I'm almost playing a new game, and given that Jung said that life begins at 40, and I'm close, so I stopped running. I'm slowly stopping to run experiments all the time. Or I don't remember what was the exact phrasing, that life begins at 40, and before that you run experiments or something like that. So I did a lot of exploration. So now I can do more exploitation. In terms of business, I would say that my general sentence that I like to use, I know it from Tony Robbins, but maybe somebody else is the author, is that business is a spiritual journey in which you are tasked with creating value to others and sharing in that value. So, me trying to understand what does mean creating value for other people and how can I share this value in a way that our incentives are aligned, so that that I'm in the business of creating more value to that person, and that person gives me from the value that I created. Feels like the most aligned interests. For other areas, I feel that most of my life feels good, so maybe I'm just trying to continue some of the things, meaning I have good relationships with my proximate family, so I'm very happy about that. Strong relationships with my sister, and quite good with my parents. I have friends that I appreciate greatly, and I think about them as my chosen family. and what kind of things I want to cultivate in my surrounding. Because like with your biological family, you kind of take them with some of the baggage of the patterns that they are sharing with you. With your chosen family, you can kind of work on those patterns more consciously. With relationships and family, I'm making meaningful progress lately with a person, so I'm not gonna introduce much information here, but like I feel, and maybe like personal health, like given the age, I feel my body very willing and able, so like I'm happy about it. So probably my main area of focus is now like finding ways to be most useful to people, because my personal fascination and my road of pain led me through a lot of subjects related to mental health and personal growth, or however you want to call it. Like this is something that I would very much like to have a chance to impact, because we have a lot of information and knowledge. You like broadly describe the authors and books that are meaningful, but most people don't know those authors and those books. It's surely not known in the curriculum of schools, and the question is why not? This is like almost, I would say, essential knowledge for grown-up that wants to have a healthy life. And if you don't want to have a healthy life, like no problem, meaning you do you, meaning like it's your life. But to have the basic aspects of agency and freedom, which almost constitute our well-being, you kind of need to understand some of those concepts, and maybe different authors will speak to you the loudest about them. But it's very hard to have a reasonably fulfilling life in a reality in which survival is like overblown as a subject and meaning is underappreciated or hard to find, because we kind of don't know where to look for meaning.
Just tell me on the like in short, what do you want to? What goal do you want you to reach in 1 year?
What goal do I want to reach in 1?
Maybe 5 years if you want.
Let's try 1. It might be slightly easier, because like 5 years, it's like I feel that the change in 5 years in the world will be so dramatic that it's much easier to. By dramatic, I mean big. I don't mean dramatic in sense of negative. Just for clarity's sake. I will have a comment on the dramatic and big, but like maybe in a moment. So in 1 year, I would say I will just go to like maybe less, I think, realistic, but like hopeful and that I enjoy considering. So seeing that not only the business that I have produces like good income, but the team is happening and it's growing, the cash flow is increasing, value is being generated. So this kind of business part, having a family, like building a family of my own with the person that I'm with at the moment, and like being advanced on the path of like deciding how does our life, our house supposed to look like, and maybe moving into the phase of buying a property that we would like to build a life in. Possibly some traveling, but like essentially I like to travel to meet people, not just see places. That's why a lot of my life is traveling when I live in places for multiple months, because that allows me to like have an experience of the place that's richer than just looking at the superficial of the place. So there is a perspective of potentially moving to Madeira for a few months. So that would be like one of the nice things. I think that I would love to kind of stabilize a piece of my routine in terms of sleep, exercise, eating. Even if it sounds like a trivial ambition, it's a real ambition of mine to feel that I have dialed that piece in, because like it's easy to disregard and you pay a lot for not treating it seriously. So if I would dial that in, I would be very happy for myself and also for the people around me, that like I can like have a life in which like I have more energy, more health, people that I live with or around, I can share with them the best version of me, because I cannot be the best version of me if I don't care for myself well enough.
Thank you, Boris. So thank you. So for me, like I will comment on my goal. It was like next year. I want to first wish that the world will end. So because we have to tie all of our, we are restricted to many things here in Ukraine with the war. So my main goal is to help as much as possible, whatever depends on me, to finish this war. And then for my, I want to have at least a couple travels per year for my family to go to exotic places like we did before, to some around the ocean, to some Asia places, some Europe places, maybe to visit Portugal if you invite me, and then we will meet somewhere on the beach. And then also to move forward with my AI agency to make sure that we have a team. We have some people, but we want to make it more stable and to have at least like 10 clients. Right now, Boris, I have my notification, my Telegram, that my client with the chatbot, AI chatbot, said, "Let's go." So just now he says, "Let's go," because we put it for free on his like pre-prod version of Shopify, and they have a good business selling made from plywood maps of American parks. So it's quite interesting niche. They make some like maps and with different things like on different parks of America. So I just got yes right now, like 5 minutes ago. So that means that we are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So I have some financial goals, and for my family, we have a nice place to live, but we want to make it better, maybe to buy something nearby. Then I want also to, in my physical plan, I wanted to do even more because daily I'm working. I can do quite good in pull-ups. This spring I made on April 33 pull-ups, which is quite impressive for me. It's the best of my life. I'm 51 years old. It's the best of my life. I want to make like this.
Yeah,
like this.
Muscle
I want, because muscle up, because this I can do a lot, but I cannot do this. So this is my goal, to make at least one in 1 year.
There will be some considerations regarding technique, because like you have to like hit lower, like possibly different parts of muscles, stuff like that.
Different muscles. So I have not hit these muscles.
Yeah, I also ran into some limitations because I kind of like used these muscles more than the ones that I should use, which are like more in the back. Never mind, we will come back to that one.
I will send you the link to my video of 330 in WhatsApp, and it's a video of my 33. I have it in video.
Nice.
So thank you, Boris. Thank you so for the podcast. It was so nice to meet you, and I'm happy that we met and we have this podcast. And I hope that we will also move to some technical cooperation and make more impact to the world. Thank you, Boris.
I would be very happy to. It's a real joy to meet you, see how rich person you are in different aspects, and you sharing this richness with us through these podcasts, collaborations, work that you do in general is like a beautiful thing. So thank you very much. And I hope that the peace that you are looking for in terms of your country will come as fast as possible, because I cannot wait to visit your country, to meet more of Ukrainian people, because the people that I meet here in Portugal who are Ukrainians are really lovely and inspiring. So that only makes me want more to visit your country, and I'm on the path of learning a little bit of Ukrainian, so that hopefully it's going to be an easier bridge for me when I get to be there.
Thank you, Boris.